So we have a lot of ideas growing up. Everybody has ideas. The first idea that I can think of that I really had when I was growing up was when I was 10. I had this weird notion that I wanted to take the back pages of my notebook that were remaining at the end of the year, rebind them, and make them new notebooks for less affording families. And this was when I was 10. So I gave it a go. I started tearing these sheets, constructing new notebooks. And at the end of the day, I had 3 such notebooks, very badly constructed, but notebooks nonetheless, that I gave to my house help. The idea bug caught on early, but I just don't think I picked up on it. Years went by, ideas went by, and then I reached the stage in my life where I had to answer the question that's deemed most important in any family. What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, at 14 or 15, I had no idea. So I, for one, took history, theatre, and English HL in my IB, went on to major in business and economics in college, only to start a career in photojournalism. So it was that random. But the idea for Humans of Bombay really came to me when I was done with college. I mean, I'd read Humans of New York in college when I was binge reading online, and I remember feeling like I hadn't felt this connected to anything in a while, and it wasn't even my city. It was New York. It was just something about the way the stories were narrated. They were so real, they were so raw. And I always wondered, why hasn't anybody started it in a place like Bombay, where there are so many different worlds coming together? I mean, you have all kinds of people. You have the chaiwala entrepreneurs, and then you have the stockbrokers. Why hasn't anybody picked it up on this yet? I came back from college. I was bored. And I tried to give 1 or 2 things a go. And one Sunday, I was particularly bored. And I thought, you know what? Let me just go and give this a try. At the time, I did not know how to operate a professional camera. So I called up a friend of mine and said, hey, do you want to come? And I guess she was bored on a Sunday as well. And she said, okay. And that's how Humans of Bombay began. We got onto the street. We started interviewing people. The first 9 out of the 10 that we tried to interview that day said no. They looked at us like we were crazy. Like, why are you stopping me in the middle of the street, asking me about my life? You're weird. But the 10th person who said yes was this sweet old lady I saw crossing the road, and I kind of followed her and said, you know, will you talk to me for 5 minutes? She ended up talking to me for 25 minutes, and she told me things about her life that I can't imagine telling anybody who I don't know. Like, it was amazing. It was a feeling that I wanted to hold on. So I decided to pursue it. I decided to push for it. And with 10 stories in the bank, and by bank I mean us going around the street, talking to people, we launched Humans of Bombay on Facebook on 28th Jan 2014. And that's how it began, literally, just from Facebook. And as I began reading the comments, I began seeing what people had to say. I felt that there was a synergy in values, that people wanted to know exactly what the person who you pass every day was thinking, but you can't really gauge because you're not supposed to talk to a stranger. We've grown up with being told, you know, don't talk to a stranger, strangers are bad, I mean, you're gonna get kidnapped, whatever. All of those things are actually true in some cases, but most of the time a stranger is just a friend waiting to be made. So Humans of Bombay began. We became popular on Facebook. And as time went by, we realized that we were doing something a lot more. We were connecting people when they wanted to, when they felt lost, when they felt that they could see eye to eye with a complete stranger. Over that time, over this time of 2 years, Humans of Bombay has hopefully, I think, broken certain amount of stereotypes. This is a story about love. I think it was one of the most popular on the pages. It's about this couple who knew each other since they were 8, and they were separated by World War. And when he was finally coming back to her, at that time there were no communication, there was no cell phones. They were communicating via letters. He was coming back after fighting World War II, and he said that my skin was yellow and my hair had fallen off. So I was just wondering, will she still even love me? And when he met her at a railway station, his wife said, "You've never looked more handsome." And that was the story of their love. And it was something that went beyond boundaries. It was something that broke certain stereotypes. This broke the stereotype of disability. This woman lost her leg in an accident and didn't blame the driver. Said that it was not his fault. It was a wrong junction or whatever. She decided that I don't want to make my disability a disadvantage. So she was always a badminton player. Decided to push at it and won India 2 medals in the Paralympics. And as of date, she's still pursuing it. And she works at a multinational corporation. She has this disability. She's traveled the world, but like she broke the barrier basically. This man's story broke the stereotype of religion. We actually featured him as a part of our 2611 story series for the day. And he speaks about how he was in a building opposite Nariman House, and he heard these bullets. So his whole family and him got up, left the room, walked across to their neighbor's house in the opposite building, not realizing that it was bang opposite Nariman House. Him and his father was standing at the window trying to get network to reach out to the rest of their family members when the terrorists shot into this apartment. They saw them through the opposite window, sprayed random bullets through the apartment. And he lost his parents that day, both his parents. And his philosophy was that a terrorist is a terrorist, and no religion in the world has anything to do with that because he's Muslim. He said that I've followed the religion to the T. I've been the most authentic religious person there could be, but that still didn't stop them from shooting. And I think that this broke the stereotype of religion. This woman is one of the strongest women I've met in my entire life, and I've met a few. She was married at the age of 19, and it was a love marriage. She moved to Dubai, and her husband started abusing her. She was tortured, and at 19 and a half, she even got pregnant. She ran away. She came back to Bombay and had to go through 6 years in the High Court immediately after. She said that her baby has been to more high courts and more Indian courts than most people would in their entire life. And she in fact said that there were times when the hearing would have to stop because she would have to feed the crying baby. But at the end of the day, she got custody of her child. And today she's running her own empire. She's a very successful photographer. She's working and she's on her own two independent feet. So her story spoke of how being a divorcee, which is such a big taboo in the Indian society, really isn't. And I felt like that was an extremely important message to pass on. And this was a very recent post, and she, as you can see, is an acid victim. And my friend Riya Sharma at Make Love Not Scars takes care of women like this and looks after them. But her story was very, very moving because she had absolutely nothing to do with this incident. In terms of her boss would harass her, he would try to get touchy, so she decided to quit. That's it. Like, I'm just going to quit my job. I'm not filing a complaint against you. I'm just quitting. But that man couldn't stand being walked out on. So one day when she was standing in the parking lot, he just doused her with acid. And those 2 minutes changed her entire life because that man is still on the street, completely free, while she has to suffer a fate that she cannot even see anymore. And Humans of Bombay raised 10 lakhs for women like her to support them, to support their ambitions, because they still want to stand on their own 2 feet. So my point is this, that every story has a meaning and every story takes you somewhere. And what I've realized through my journey of Humans of Bombay is that every person, I'm sure there are 100 people here, every person has their own story. And as far as possible, people like to respect it and people like to share because you feel the same way. And this was 2 years ago that I started Humans of Bombay. 2 years on, we're 600,000 strong, where we reach over 6 million people a week. And this was all from a stupid idea. It was considered a stupid idea. Like, I remember when I was starting Humans of Bombay, people asked me, how are you going to sustain this? How are you going to make money? I mean, is this even viable? And I remember at that point, I just thought that, I feel passionately about it. I want to pursue it. The answers will come. And that's my point, that the answers will come. So even if you don't know, it's not the end of the world. I majored in business and economics, and I'm into photojournalism. So no matter who says what, or no matter what you've majored in, or no matter how many question marks there are, if you feel passionately about something, everything will come to you. And you're only one stupid idea away from being the next big thing. Thank you.